Just hit it. Just hit it,
That's
my guy.
Let's go.
Come on.
All right. So today on the show, I have Damian Washington. He's an actor, rapper, self-proclaimed nerd. He's worked with people such as Elizabeth Banks, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Bacon. He has a YouTube channel of 7,000 subscribers, sharing his journey with multiple sclerosis. You are one of the people that, as soon as I thought about starting a podcast, which was probably like a year ago, you're one of the top people. I was like, who do I have on a podcast? Damian. I gotta get ready. I gotta understand how podcasts work. But when I'm ready, like, I gotta have Damien on. You've done a lot in your life, but the number one thing that I think stood out for me, and I think stands out for like anybody who even meets you online. I've never met you in person yet. Hopefully someday. You're just like high energy positivity, which is like a contradiction to what people would think, given like your kind of like life situations and the barriers you've faced. Selfishly, I think I got some things to learn from you, and I've been wanting to have a talk like this for a long time. So
My man. I'm trying to hang out with you, big fella. Step one. Step two, peace to everybody who's listening. And with Nasser, that was a wonderful assessment of who I am and what I do. And I'm just a guy who's running around Los Angeles trying to be on TV longer than 30 seconds. And, 3 dozen national commercials with those sorts of big names. And, half of them were in New York and half of them were in Los Angeles. And at some point, my world, I was just not getting on TV longer than 30 seconds. Like the only thing that I booked that was on a show was Christina Applegate's, I forget the other actress's name at the moment, but that show Dead to Me. I was the MRI scan technician when she was going in to get her multiple sclerosis diagnosis.
I saw that video. That's so
Like what?
fascinating.
What?
Yeah.
So of all of the things going on in my world, I wasn't really able to get on TV longer than 30 seconds like I thought this would bring me. But after I built the YouTube community and the social medias, once all of that started to happen, and then the only thing that budged was this thing kind of related to MS. And like I'm on set with her and she's in a lot of pain. She's having a really bad MS day. And the only thing that I could manage to say to her in that moment was like, "You're awesome." Like, because I have multiple sclerosis. And I speak a decent amount of French, and I'm married to a French American. I passed a 90-minute language exam at the French consulate to qualify for a European passport, which is a whole nother story. But I did that, and we moved to Madrid, 8 months ago, and are continuing to make the road by walking because she always wanted to move back to her hometown of Madrid, and she followed me around New York and Los Angeles on the great Hollywood chase.
Yeah.
And after like 10, 12 years of like doing cool stuff with cool people, and it just wasn't budging. And it just was like, all right, Madrid it is, let's go. And so we've
Yeah.
been here 7, 8 months, and I'm still trying to figure out what the next thing is going to be. But the main thing was to get over here. And now we're here. Now let's continue, like I say, make the road by walking. That you
Yeah.
know a lot about, my man. You make the road by walking.
There we go.
Like
There we
like
go.
some of the best of us. Which is even why I'm like, yo, you want to talk to me, bro? I want to talk to you.
I appreciate it. You're like a boost of confidence and like energy and motivation every time. Every message from you is
My man.
is support. I want to tap
Game
into
recognized
that.
game, bro.
I
That's it.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I want to tap into that. Let's rewind. Let's rewind a little bit. And I'm interested in like for me like creative people are always just fascinating because it's such a it's such a it seems like, I mean, for me it just seems like such a hard thing to be in the world. Like it's such a kind of like going out of the the direction everyone else is going, or everyone else wants you to go, or how did you get on that path?
My mom, she was a dancer when she was younger. And then, she had a kid. Clearly magical, clearly like give him a script, put him in front of a camera like he's a natural, right?
So
And
from an
that's
early
what
age you were,
early. I was just like 10, 11, so like maybe, yeah, like
and
around then.
This is like in where are you growing up? L.A. or is this
Oh, this is New York City, man.
this is New York
I
City? Okay.
I'm born and bred in New York City, Harlem,
Okay.
and the Bronx. All of the great things you know about those places, and all of the terrible things you know about those places. Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's it's in my bone marrow, bro. And it's kind of how I have the confidence to present myself at any time in any situation because I'm concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Like
Right.
to quote the Jay-Z song. So like all
Right.
that
Right.
stuff is in my bone marrow and it's unimportant to me failing or anything like that. The most important thing is giving my best shot, giving everything that I have in that moment, and then taking it from there. Because my half ability is somebody 200-300 ability, and I know that. So I just always just like even right now, I'm looking in the middle of the lens, bro. Like I don't know how far away you are from me, but I know that you're right here, essentially.
Right.
So, and this is my man, and I'm talking to my man. So I'm vibing with him right here, right now, and that's really kind of where it all comes from, man.
Yeah. So what was it? Was it like as a kid? Is just like your first experiences with it. You just like fell in love with it, the play of it, or like what was it? What do you think attracted you
It's
to it?
it's funny, man, because again, my mom was a dancer, so she was just always trying to do something with me, like, hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to do that in the arts? But then like commercial classes was kind of my thing. I came up with these kids that were working toward being professional entertainment people, and I just fit right in, and I was having fun. And once I started booking commercials, then it was like, this is a paycheck. Like when I'm in a Lowe's commercial, like half of my friends from college were like, damn, Damien is working at Lowe's? Like, I thought he would do something different with his college education. And my other friends were like, he's an actor.
What is MS, and at what point did MS enter the picture for you? And how did that? And I'm curious, like how it impacted this acting life journey for you.
So it's one of these autoimmune diseases that Newtonian science doesn't know its cause. But that's something I could get into another time. But essentially, my immune system is eating my brain and my spine as we speak. There's like at least 24, like 30 something things that can go wrong. And essentially anything that's not the heartbeat or the lungs can be affected. So my vision's affected, my motor skills are affected, going to the bathroom is affected, cognition at times, like if I'm tired or it's just I'm swimming in a soup of like I don't know what the hell is going on right now. And that's why I meditate a lot. I meditate 2 to 3 times a day just to sort of bring myself right back down to the baseline and be this guy again. Having MS, like I get emotional because it's an unpleasant experience. However, the more I understand about it and it in me, the more I'm able to connect with other people that have it as well. And I started the channel when I was on bed rest from a spinal tap that didn't heal, and it didn't heal for weeks. So, in order to confirm that you have multiple sclerosis, because again, the science is not like concrete on it. So they give you an MRI and they scan your brain and they see if there are any certain areas in your brain that are active and look like they have MS. And then to be extra sure, they in the base of your spine and suck out the fluid and then look at the fluid and see if the markers for a disease is present. And usually the hole closes up, it's fine, no problem. Every now and then it doesn't really heal properly. And so for a couple of weeks, my spine it would leak spinal fluid whenever I would sort of get up and move and stuff. And I'm paused with it because that was the most terrible pain I have ever felt like before or sense. In that journey, like on bed rest, a couple of my friends were like, "Yo, you should start a YouTube channel. Yo, you should really, whatever, whatever. You put yourself on camera and just start doing this." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll get around to it. Yeah, whatever." And when I was in that bed, bro, I was like, "I'm not gonna be on my feet. I'm not going to be off my feet forever. When I get back on my feet, I'm gonna start this channel." And I posted every week for about 6 to 8 months. Nobody watched. But whenever I went to the multiple sclerosis, like infusions or just dealing with the doctors, thousands of people would watch. And then it was like, I don't want to be the MS guy, but clearly people want to watch me talk about multiple sclerosis. Fine. And so I just started banging out these multiple sclerosis videos. And then, like I pretty much every single organization that you can figure out about the condition, I've worked with. Like I just did something for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society a couple weeks ago. I was in Copenhagen, chairing a panel with a doctor and a professor and another patient for a room full of doctors at a conference of doctors, and making that whole conversation just facilitate properly. So like I just marry my presence on screen with being able to relate to and understand and connect with patients in a way in which only patients can, and bring that realness to the space and bridge the gap between understanding of the disease and that compassion to, I don't know anything about this medical condition, or I only know about it from a doctor's point of view. So let's figure out the middle. I'm the middle. And I think that's why I have 7,000 subs and countless organizations I've worked with. That's a long-winded answer, bro, but that's what it is.
I appreciate you sharing that with me. Yeah, I mean it's tough chapters in your life, so carries emotion with it.
Yeah, yeah. But without it though, I wouldn't be living in Madrid because just getting the relationship with my lady, and I learned enough of the language to pass this language exam and then get this passport in a way in which I would not have gotten it if I didn't have the condition. So on one hand, it's like I turn poop into flowers, Nasser. Like all of just the shit. I find some way to turn into a vibrant, fragrant, wonderful flower that could not have been as colorful or vibrant without the catalyst of that terrible filth on top of it. So that's I'm not gonna say part of my charm, but I think that's part of my magic. You know what I'm saying?
I'm curious. I'm curious more about those chapters, but
Yeah,
if
man.
yeah,
I'll be able to, man.
I don't want to be.
No, bro. Like emotion is like right here, bro. It's right under the surface. So it's available, especially if I'm in a space in where I feel safe and I'm comfortable. I'm going to give you the most that I of that that's gonna be me. And if it ventures into a space that is a touch rocky, that's fine because I got 4-wheel drive, baby, and I know how to navigate it and be like, no, I'm presenting this and giving you the most complete version of it that I can, and I'm happy to, and proud to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. How long ago was this that you first learned that you have MS?
8 years ago, at least, something like that.
Yeah.
Just
And
doing it.
and was that just like through symptoms? You were like something's going on, and then
So my wife, she and I have been together since college. She knows me as this high energy guy, and I just was subsequently getting less and less. I would have our walks would get shorter and shorter, and I would lean on her differently. Like when we would walk down the street, she's like, "Bro, I've been here, and you hold me differently when we walk down the street. Something's been wrong with you, bro." And going to the optometrist was like, your eyes are fine, but your vision isn't. So between the optometrist, between my lady being like, something's off with you, eventually I get to a space where I couldn't make it around the block to walk. And I got home and I went to take my shoes off and then I fell. And so I'm looking at the ceiling, trying to take my shoes off. And the lady's like, that's it. We're going to emergency care. We're not leaving till we know what's wrong with you. And the emergency care person was like, get an MRI. The MRI was like, oh, yeah, he's fine. He totally has multiple sclerosis. He needs to get a doctor and he needs to figure that out. And that's kind of the start of it all. Knowing that that's what I'm dealing with, and now figuring out how to unpack it and live my best life and share the journey with others and help others share theirs so they can have a place of just warmth and healing and understanding because it's a very isolating condition. You feel like you're alone. So the more I can help people feel less alone, I've done my job.
You're saying that even before you were a high energy person. You've been kind of a high energy person. The people who have MS, everybody's dealing with it differently. Has different kind of situations and conditions and struggles and tools that they use. But it's inspiring that you've been able to maintain that high energy. I'm curious if you talk about kind of like the flowers from the poop. This kind of and that's such a that's life, right? That's like it's actually some of the most beautiful flowers come from the poop. So I'm curious, how have you able to maintain your high energy and positivity? But I'm also curious, what flowers have come from it? Like what aspects of yourself have you discovered? Like what has it done for you in a positive way?
No, no, Mike. It's to continue a poop metaphor. I smell what you're stepping in, bro. So like,
Let's go.
no, what it is, man. Like it really caused me to slow down, and my energy, like, bro, like I have stories about how like I've been able to get away with massive things because of my energy, and I've been granted a pass because of my high energy. So it's just something that I have naturally and I'm able to tap into it. It's like me going to the well. That's something I've always been able to do. But MS drains the well, bro. So really, once I understood what that was and what that means, what that meant, I had to figure out what can I do to fill up the well as often as possible. So that means meditating 2 to 3 times a day. That means like even before I got on here, like I woke
Did
up.
you have a meditation journey before MS, or was
No,
discovered that? Okay.
no. So I have a minor in Eastern Asian religions from Middlebury College too. So it was just one of these things where I dropped computer. And then I was like, fine, I'm doing the theater. Oh, okay, here's one theater production, whatever. Here's another theater production, whatever. But I'm here at this awesome school. What else in the syllabus I like? And I would just the intro to Buddhism was interesting. Read all of those books cover to cover. I got A's on all of those papers, and I was like, okay, well, let's do it. And I had fun, and so I took the next one, read all of those books cover to cover, aced all of those papers, and was friends with the people in the class. So I have this like intellectual understanding of Buddhism that is not a layman's understanding, so to speak. And then at some point in my life crumbling, it was like, yo, you need to learn how to meditate so you can calm it down. And it was like, oh, I will charge you $1,000 to teach you to meditate. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool, but I also have a degree from Middlebury College about this stuff, so I think I can figure it out. And as I was figuring it all out and figuring out practitioners I could go to for free and starting with 10 minutes and 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And so like Generally, I sit between a half. I sit at for a half hour, but I've sat for as much as an hour and a half. So it's just one of these things that in half-hour sessions throughout the day, hopefully three, certainly two, I fill up the well. So I'm closer to the energy that I've known and accustomed to. So I can see better. So I can walk better. So I am less of a dickhead when I'm speaking to people.
How would you describe the practice, and how would you describe what it gives you? Like, what is?
What it gives me is knowing that there's more than my perception. And whatever my perception is a reflection of what has happened in my history. It might be currently true, but there's a very good chance that my historical things are putting a bend and a shape on it that might adulterate this experience in the moment. And so it's given me the space to be able to just only pay attention to my breath. The mind can rattle on, and I bring it right back to the what's happening right here, right now. I'm not in the future thinking about something. I'm not in the past thinking about something. I honor it because it's there and it's mine. So, thank you. But also, this breath is the only thing I'm paying attention to. And the more you it's a dog. The more you just are just patient with the dog when the dog moves. When you tell it to sit and then it gets up and does something, whatever, whatever. Eventually, you tell it to sit, and that thing is just going to sit there and stay there. And that's kind of the magic that I've found from a meditative practice. And whenever I'm done, symptoms are always cooler and better. Like I say, I can walk better, I can see better, I feel better. And because these things are so close to you, you don't recognize your part in them. Like, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. So doctors can only do but so much from you. Doctors can only do but so much for you. And so it's your health, it's your life, it's your ride. Figure out what works for you and then do it again, 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 so that you're able to touch something that no doctor could prescribe for you and no one else could give to you. You give it to yourself.
I just to tap into the meditation a little more, because that's my favorite topic. I mean, I could say I was just talking about meditation. It's for me personally, like I've been practicing Vipassana for about like 10 years, meditation, and it's I my mental health was so bad for me it was life saving. For me, it was life saving. It's been life saving.
100%. So wait, how did you eat? How did you pick up your practice? My body was falling apart. So your mental life was falling apart.
My mental journey was falling apart in different kind of like cycles and stages, but and I was like experimenting with these ideas of like, I don't know if you know Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and just kind of like spirituality and these kind of things. It was like, okay, I had like really bad anxiety and social anxiety and things like that, and I was like, okay, this stuff is kind of like helping me, but at the same time I was still dabbling in the less helpful stuff, and I was kind of like cycling around. And at some point I had like such a bad experience that I was like pretty bad mental health, like to the point of going to like psychiatric hospital, like being kept there for some time, being on medication, all that stuff. So for me it was like, okay, these medications are not helping me feel good. For some people they do. I'm grateful for the support that they give people, and I think probably I needed medication at that time because I was just so unstable that I needed something to like give me some ground to even be on. But it was like, okay, this isn't I remember like using mindfulness, using meditation, using presence, and it. I think there was a way there. I think there was something there. I didn't like do it like with as much adherence or with as seriously. I was kind of dabbling in other stuff, but I think that might be a path. So I slowly kind of got off the medication against the kind of advice of parents and psychiatrists and psychologists. Everybody was saying this is a bad idea, but I was like, I kind of want to do this, so you guys can kind of like help me do this, so I can just kind of like wing it. So like, oh, they were like, okay, well, you know, my psychiatrist kind of like gave in and kind of helped me reduce the medication, then start kind of back on the sobriety, meditation, and kind of like, and it. Yeah, the Vipassana practice. I actually found it is, you're a rapper, you enjoy rap. Macklemore has a song called Vipassana, and I was like listening to his stuff, and I came across this song. I was like, this is a really deep song. What is this Vipassana stuff? And then I found the practice through there. But it was kind of like it was kind of having a structured approach towards all these ideas that I had come across, these ideas of acceptance, these ideas of being present. It was like, okay, how do I do this stuff? And it was like, okay, this is a structured meditation. It's Buddhist. It's been around for like a couple thousand years. Let's give it a shot. And then it turned into a daily practice. And many years later, I still do it daily, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, but it's whenever I do it less, I remember why I need to do it more.
That part. One of the things that that's important and is pretty much a tangent on what you're talking about. Jesus is a historical figure. The Buddha is a historical figure. Like Muhammad, they're historical figures. These are people that lived, bro. And the dogmas that came up around their philosophies, that much of that is man. So that can be have its man's own influence, which you can you can just simply say that it's not necessarily the purest of what they were teaching. And part of the Buddhist story is that he had all of the things and the riches, and he still felt like the life was empty, and so he left it all behind, and then went out in the woods and was starring himself and was doing all ascetic rituals and stuff, and still didn't, it wasn't the thing. And eventually he just was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down here and I'm not going to move until I know what the hell it is. And however the heck long that was or whatever, like the spirits were beginning to be like, okay, he's getting close. So let's try to get him off of this path, and start sending him bad thoughts and spirits and like all these things to sort of, shake him in the moment. And ultimately, it was like, who do you think you are to break through this, to pierce this veil? Like you can't do this. This is not for you. And he touched the ground. And in touching the ground, it's I'm here. I am on this planet. I am on Earth. I am part of the Earth. And it is me. And I am it. That's who I am to do this. So anything that you are saying and that you're trying to get me off track with, that's unimportant. I am here. And then touching the ground was the enlightenment moment, and the moment that folk work to gain for themselves. And eventually you get that presence to know that all of the chatter in here and all of the circumstances out there to draw you away from that's unimportant. You're here. And that means you're worthy. That means you matter. And that means, yeah, you're going to have to wrestle with these things. But you can also find the middle way. You can also find something else that's part of your existence that's within you equally. So you can't have this great peace without the great war or the great potentiality of war. So don't stay out there long. Work to find your way back to the middle and work to find your way here now as often as you can. And that will be the thing that will help you expand your world in ways that you cannot imagine.
Beautiful. How is that journey going through MS, finding these tools? How has that impacted yourself, your peace, your understanding of life, spirituality, these things? Like, how have you grown through that? Because I imagine you have grown through it.
Oh yeah. It just again it just teaches me to pay less attention to what's going on out there and pay more attention to just the basics. And because the mind will be cooking up things, and it's something that came to me as I was doing these however many years ago. It's in your mind, you hear it, so it's real, but it does not necessarily mean that it's true. What's true is your presence. What's true is your ability to make the choice. So that's what I work to get closer to is the truth. Because in the moment, people say crappy things to each other. I say crappy things. People say crappy things to me. And letting that in and letting that affect my personality and my way forward. No, that's real, but that's not true. What's true is that 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 bundle of joy that you are when you come out into the human existence, that is true. So figure out your way back to that as quickly as you can, with as much presence as you can. And yeah, there's plenty of things that need to go on in my world, in my life, in the society and such. Um, but the most, I don't think I will get those things as authentically as I get them if I'm not present. So that's the main thing that I aim to lean on. That's part of what it's part of what I've learned, sir.
Is that something you like suggest to people who are experiencing MS or in general? Is that kind of a tool that you that
I think anybody who is breathing should have a meditative practice, and if you could only do it for 10 minutes, fine. And people often say, "Oh, I can't meditate. I can't whatever," and I'm like, you can't be in a room with yourself by yourself. You can't do that for 10 minutes. How does the rest of your family feel? How does your dog feel? You understand what I'm saying? If you can't sit by yourself for 10 freaking minutes, how do you think your sister feels about sitting in a room with you for hours? So if you can't sit by yourself in a room alone for 10 minutes, okay, you're not gonna die, bro. Like the most at most you need to get up and pee, but you're not gonna die. So why can't you sit by yourself for 15 minutes? Why can't you sit by yourself for a half hour? And part of that is people say that I don't have time to meditate, and a saying is, oh, if you don't have a half hour to meditate, you should meditate for an hour. And like that sort of notion is very present and very real. And that's what I would say to anybody who has some resistance. There's some resistance in you because whatever that part of you that says that, it only lives in you. And so if you give life to another part of you, that part dies. So it's fighting for its life in you right now, and it's going to do everything it can to stay alive. And if this is your realm, for your choice, you give life to something else and have that live in you and breathe life into that and put more of your life force on that instead. And then that will get louder and that will have more control over you. Because right now, currently, the thing that has the more control over you does not serve you as much as the thing that you have yet to have grown.
What's your relationship now to life, to MS, to meditation, to like
I know that there's a spectrum. So whenever things get ugly, that's just one end of it. And that means things can be beautiful. So if I'm on the ugly end, I don't believe that ugly is true. It's real, but it's not true. So what is going on within me that this is this is real? How can I find another sort of truth? So that's pretty much all I'm really concerned with, bro, is finding my own truth.
are you a more positive person now than before MS? Are you more because you're like a very like my experience of you is just like this like joyful energy positivity like
It
I
is.
is that more or less from did that or is it the same?
It's the same sort of energy, but the wavelength is it's bigger and it's broader because I've taken I've eaten a lot of crap in my time, bro,
Yeah,
and I've
that
done a
builds your that
lot of
builds your that builds your compassion. That builds your
oh man, bro, and it builds my compassion, especially when things are not well, like if people are being mean to me, and like it's like, oh damn, that was nasty, and oh that's I'm not gonna play that
I
in my
can't
head.
I can't imagine people being mean to you.
Oh, bro, oh my man, trust me, it happens, and it happens often.
Yeah.
So it's just one of these things that you just know that this stuff is real and you know that your love is the only thing that's true. You were made from love, you came from love, and so anything else
And has
that's
that
not.
has that on this that on that's the understand that understanding has grown?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You sit for an hour and a half every day.
Do you attribute it? Do you attribute it to that?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Because, like you say, it's simpler to grab a beer. It's simpler to smoke a joint. It's simpler to do whatever behavior that will numb you from the experience. That will numb you from the front line of the experience, or maybe the second or even third line. But if you take the time to be present with it, you see that it may be loud, but it's not really that big.
Do you think
You're like,
do
you're
you think
small.
if do you think like within people who have MS because you have an MS audience, you have people who I imagine look to you and are like, wow, this guy's doing pretty well. I wish that. Do you think uh, like like you said like there's only so much a doctor can do for you. There's only so much like these kind of things. How big of an impact is do you think is those kind of choices of like choosing doing a daily practice like meditation versus like not doing it or maybe kind of
It's
just
one of these things that you don't understand how delicious it is until you taste it for yourself. Like,
mind and body
say again?
on your the effect on your mind and your body.
Oh yeah, no, it is not possible for you to conceive the greatness that awaits you on the other side because you haven't experienced it before. And if you have experienced it before, something else caused it and it was fleeting. And so all experience is fleeting, but if you find a way to cause that yourself, if you it's not a cause, it's like being the gateway to that for yourself, magic awaits, bro. And like I'm a guy, I sit every like I say, this is often, and like a lot of times I don't feel like doing it, and even halfway into it, I'm like, when is this gonna be over? But toward like the mind eventually settles. Eventually it settles, and then the alarm goes off, and you're like, "Oh wait, oh really? Oh okay, cool." So it's just one of these things that people will not understand how delicious it is until they do it.
Because with especially with a physical condition, I think people are just like, ah, it's physical. It's like me sitting for meditation or whatever. You know, if you got like a chronic condition, it's like what's the point?
That's part of the thing that contributed to the environment for your kind of condition to become prevalent in your life. Doctor Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks about this at length. And if that's not a cat that is in your world or anybody else's world, your viewers, listeners' world, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. And as a doctor, he was a doctor, and he had a motorcycle crash, and he were he was not going to be able to walk again. And sort of taking those circumstances and learning how the brain works, and nerve cells that fire together wire together, and the more you fire this mindset pattern, the more closely it's going to stick, and it's going to be real for you. But the more you take time to sort of see what's behind it and then unravel it and see what other nerve cells you can have fire together and wire together, and then that becomes the new default. That is a journey that only you can ride. And the pill, it numbs one part and turns up another part artificially. And if you can figure out how to numb one part and turn up another part by yourself, whoo, power comes out of you, buddy. And you walk in a whole nother space, bro.
Beautiful. Thank you, Damon. You're inspirational.
Thank you, man. Again, like it's anything you see in me, I'm merely just reflecting what I see in you. And what the shine that you see is your reflection, bro. The mirror can't show you anything that's not you. So if you catch that from
I'll take it.
me, my
I'll take
man,
it.
that's what it is, bro.
I'll take it. I don't read books, but I listen to books a lot. So and people like yourself, they always have good recommendations. I'm just curious. Is there a particular book that in your life you have found particularly impactful? You mentioned Joel Dispenza, so maybe some from him or someone else that I'm
Joe
curious.
Dispenza, he's got a bunch of them. Like breaking the habit of being yourself is one of them. He's got a bunch of them, but anything by Joe Dispenza is going to help you figure out the next part of you and your journey. There's a book that I just cracked called Moodtopia, and Moodtopia is goodness me, what is come on? And if you're looking at this, you see me squinting at the screen right now.
Let me see. Mootopia. Chana Silverstein.
Yeah, Sarah Hannah Silverstein, right?
Okay. And
And
that's something you're reading right now.
that's something I just started. And that's all about just different foods that help you with your moods and what to eat less of and what to eat more of to help you sort out your way forward. And Self Heal by Design by Barbara O'Neill is another person that sort of
All right,
speaks.
I asked the right person. You
Yeah.
got that. You got the list. If there was a younger version of yourself, what is there anything that you would tell them that you think that they would benefit from hearing?
I'd say that you are enough. And yeah, I can speak forever and unpack all the things, but I just say follow love and you are enough.
There we go. That's all you need.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So I had a past life regression one time. One of the lives that I saw, because there's countless ones that you've lived, but the one that I saw is because it was the most service to me in that moment. The one I saw is that I was an archer, um, and I would win, place, or show at all these competitions. Like I was good, and oof, there's a bunch in there, and like I won't even get to even that part of the story, whatever. So before you're before you sort of end the session, it's like, all right, the regressor's like, has sort of the oversoul or the other part of you that is you, but just exists in some other dimension somewhere, and they're still having a conversation with it, and so they're like, all right, do you have anything that you want to tell Damien before we leave? And I say, keep going. Take care of Angela. Angela's my wife. She's my gal I've been with for 24 years this year, I guess. And of all of the accolades and all of the things that I do and I do well, um, and the stuff that I go through, it's hard, man. Um, it's just difficult. But my oversoul sort of telling me to keep going, take care of Angela, and that be the only thing that an outside version of me, a future version of me, a higher version of me would tell my current self. It's like, yo, I know it's hard. I know you kind of want to quit. I know this is pretty difficult. Keep going. Take care of your family who loves you. That's it. So that's part of what I would say to my younger self.
Beautiful, Damien. Thank you so much. Thank you, man.
Thank you, bro. Like
Do something like this again sometime because I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of.
yeah, bro. I'm here and I'm around, and again, I don't. You can always make back money, but you cannot get back time. Time that you share with people is your most valuable asset. So I can't get back the past hour that we spent. You can't get back the past hour that you spent. And you spend time. You understand what I'm saying? So like it's your most valuable asset. Um, so I enjoy spending time with you, my guy, and
Thank you, man.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank
So
you.
holler at your boy accordingly. You know what I'm
Thank you,
saying?
man. I'm grateful for your time. I'm grateful for people who watch this conversation, and I'm grateful for your time. And I wish that you take some good gifts from this conversation with Damien because he has a lot of gifts. He's I found him to be an inspirational, a positive figure in my life. However, briefly, you are in my, we don't talk often. I don't see you often, but even the time we do spend together has such depth to it. So
Yeah, my
thank you,
guy.
thank you so much,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. Follow Damien, and appreciate you, Damien.
I see you when I see you, big fella.